My next question would then be draft, because the most common thread I see with T1 is their drafts are bad. Okay. So Fnatic's drafts are often bad because they're limited in what they can play, at least based on what we've seen in playoffs, right? I think the most flexible player they have is someone like Humanoid, who can play both control mages and skirmishes, and like he has a very deep champion pool, but the same can't necessarily be said for everyone else. Or maybe it's that the players don't trust each other, or Yamato doesn't trust, or whatever. But in terms of what they bring to the table is limited. Would you argue that the same is true for T1, that their champ pools aren't necessarily that deep? Or is it just that they are objectively just drafting really badly and no one can really explain why?
I think T1 actually have some of the biggest champ pools. Like if you go across the roles, Zeus can play. I guess the only where limitation you maybe have Zeus is like tanks-ish, but he still played Orin Sejuani. This guy can play every carry in the game. He's even played like Zac, Mordekaiser, Yone. He can play anything. Faker can pretty much play whatever the fuck you want from him. He's mostly leaning towards, I mean, you know from the last few worlds, he's mostly leaning towards like supportive champs, right? But he's still playing like a lot of Azir, Corki. He can play what the fuck he wants.
Yeah, I mean, Faker's I would expect him to have a deep champion pool, yeah.
And carry, I mean, this man plays Lee Sin support, right? So I think their champ pools are fine. Maybe you could argue that AD carry, they have a small champ pool based on how well Gumayushi will play, right? There's like
that's always
champs
going to be
that he will play.
By the meta anyway. So,
yeah, there's limited champs where Guma will play well. And I think they're pretty fine overall. I think T1 is, they just make, like, even the way that they draft, they just let through so many power picks because their read is just wrong, and they think that they have these counters to them, which when they get to like an R4, R5, they realize they're not counters, and the game's just lost, and they have to win the game in 5 minutes. And,
right.
And they think like blind picking certain champs. Like, for example, T1 never played Poppy Trundle. They didn't. They just didn't play it. Even though Owner is a really good Poppy, and he's a really good Trundle as well. But they just thought that Wukong is just the best champ in the game, and that they can counter Poppy with Morgana. And that's it. But if you actually look at their playoffs run, they just didn't play Poppy, and they either gave it thinking they could counter it, or they had to double ban, and it just looked wrong. But then you look at the games when they play Trundle, and it looks great. You know, their Damwon series, they play Trundle, instant win. Oh, they're going to go up against Genji. Oh, yeah, we can pick Vi here. We can go into game 2. Oh, yeah, we can give them Sejuani or whatever, and we'll play Morgana. Oh, yeah, we can blind pick Yumi and let them play Singe. Like, they just fall into every team's trap for no reason. And it doesn't make sense what they're doing.
Okay, interesting. So it's almost like they try to like game the system, and then they end up only gaming themselves.
They think that they will play their own meta, and giving them meta champs doesn't matter because their meta will just counter it, and it doesn't.
You sound quite passionate. I respect it.
He does.